meditation and prayer, right? We're moving through the Shema Yisrael. That's what we're doing right now. We're going through Shema Yisrael to be able to understand how to not only read words in Hebrew, but also to be able to understand the meaning of the words as well as the meditation. It's a 3-point purpose of this class, of this course. If you haven't yet been able to do so, to listen to the previous classes on meditation and prayer, we've already covered mindful eating blessings, how to make your food experience mindful, how to bring prayer and spirituality into your eating. And we've also started the Shema Yisrael. We've had about 3 or 4 or 5 lessons on the Shema. If you haven't yet done so, please go to youtube.com/Jewish Gardens. And you'll see the playlist called Meditation and Prayer. It's right there on the homepage. And when you do that, you could just click on Meditation and Prayer. It's at youtube.com/Jewish Gardens. And you can see all the classes that you've missed. You can listen to them on the treadmill or while you're taking a walk and just have a good time together. So I really encourage you to take that course because it's going to transform your entire relationship with, and indeed your relationship with God, because you'll be empowered to be able to speak to God in Hebrew, in the original language, and to be able to connect to the powerful and profound meditations which underlie all of the prayers that we do. So I just want to say one thing before we start here, and that is please do share this video on your YouTube or Facebook pages. So on YouTube, we'd like to ask you to subscribe to our page to help us grow and have more influence on YouTube. And on Facebook, if you could please share this page or like this page, share this video. That would be great to be able to spread the light to many, many more people, as many as possible. Okay? And with that, I'm switching now to what we're learning, which is the Shema Yisrael. So we are building our Hebrew word diaries. Through these meditation and prayer classes, we are building words. And I'm encouraging you to write them down as we go along. Write them in Hebrew. So that way, the only way you'll ever get to know Hebrew, my friends. If you want, how does the saying go? If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. If your synagogue experience has always been just endless recitals of a foreign language, and you're not going to do anything about it, it's going to be the same way in 10, 20, and 40 years from now. But if you make the decision to change it today, to begin writing your Hebrew word diaries, as I've gone through with you in the videos on meditation and prayer on youtube.com/Jewish Gardens, you will transform your Hebrew prayer experience. It will become meaningful. It will become meditative. It will become truly spiritual. Your entire life will change. And I hope that you will join me on this journey. So we've learned so far the first line, Shema Yisrael, Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We've also learned the second line of Shema V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol modecha, and you shall love God Almighty, who is Mother Nature, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your very. That's how we explain it. Now, the one word which we haven't yet explained in that particular paragraph is the word nafshecha. The word nafshecha means your soul. Let me first teach you how to read that word, in case, remember there's 3 points to this class, which is reading, understanding, meditating. So even if you do know how to read Hebrew, it's always going to help to do a little refresher for a few seconds. It's not going to kill anybody. So this is the letter Nun. Nun is a letter which we haven't really come across so much in this particular course. The Nun has no heel, as opposed to the Gimel, which is a letter that looks very glamorous. You see she's got a high heel. Not a beautiful high heel. Looks very glamorous. Glamorous for Gimel. But the Nun has no heel. It's wearing flats. So it's just no heel. No heel for Nun. Nun. Nun, Nun, no heel. Right? Glamorous, Gimel, Nun. It's just nothing. Right? Now the pay, the letter pay here, if it has a penny inside, then it's a pay. If it has no penny inside, it's a fay. Right? If the penny fell out, then it's a fay. We've got a few of these kinds of letters. You may remember we have a dot in the bet and a dot in the kaf. So the way we explain those letters, just to review with those. So we said that when it comes to the letter kaf, the letter at the bottom, we said if it has a dot, then it's got a cough drop. And if it doesn't have a kaf drop, then it's a chaf, it's horse. And the other letter that we did that with was with the letter bet. We said if it has a button, it's a bet. If it's vacant of a button, then it's a vet. Vacant for vet, button is bet. These are the three letters which have a dot inside. There's actually one more letter which has a dot inside, and that is the letter Taf. A little less famous. I don't know why this letter Taf merited to be forgotten. I think it's the last letter of the alphabet, and therefore by the time you reach the very end of the alphabet, people are like, they're out to lunch already. So I don't know why we forgot this letter, but if it has a dot, then it's a Taf. If it doesn't have a dot, then it's a Saf. Just like these letters, with a dot and without a dot, they change. There's no reason why this letter, with a dot and without a dot, it shouldn't change. It just happens to be the last letter of the alphabet, and maybe therefore it gets forgotten. But it's got a dot, it's a Taf. If it doesn't have a dot, it's a Saf, right? Same thing over here. Bet or vet, button or vacant. Kaf drop is a kaf. Without a kaf drop, it's horse, it's chaf. And finally, today's letter is the pay. If it has a pay, if it has got a penny, it's a pay. If it doesn't have a penny, if it fell out, then it's a fay. Finally, the last letter of this word is shin. We've learned this letter before. If there's a shin with a dot on the right, she is always right. That's the rule, my friends. Your wife is always right. Don't ever argue with your wife. She is always right. So if the dot is on the right, it's a shin. If the dot is on the left, if you do the opposite of what your wife tells you, it is a sin. Sin, S-I-N. Dot on the left is a sin. Dot on the right is a shin. And that, my friends, is the word of the day. The word is nefesh, right? In this case, here, nefesh, which is, now what does that word mean? So nefesh has some interesting meanings. It means soul. That's what the word nefesh means. It comes up very, very often in the Chumash. It comes up very, very often in the Siddur. The word nefesh means soul, and it also has another meaning, which we're going to explain in a moment. On Shabbos, like for example, let me give you a few examples. When Abraham is fighting against the 4 kings and wins the war, then one of the king of Sodom comes to him and he tells him, yeah, let me reward you for winning the battle for me. And Abraham tells him, you know what, I'm not going to take anything from you. You take the possessions. Ten li hanefesh, give me the souls. Ten li hanefesh, give me the souls. Give me the people, you take the money. Nefesh means souls. Nefesh means life. Our soul gives us life. It's very, very important to recognize the concept, the connection between life and soul. It's the same word. Often now, life is often chayim, but the word nefesh can also mean life. Why? For example, in this verse, and you shall love God your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your with all your might. So with all your heart, we explained that last week. With all your soul means with all your life. That's what it means. Giving your soul means to give your life. In fact, in Hebrew, the word for giving up your life is mesiras nefesh, handing over your soul. Mesirat nefesh means handing over your soul, being willing to sacrifice your soul. In English, we call it self-sacrifice. In Hebrew, it's called mesirat nefesh, which means soul sacrifice. Because myself is my soul. Who I am is my soul. I'm not my fingers. I'm not my toes. I'm not my hair. I can live without all of those. I am my soul. A dead person has fingers, toes, heartbeat, has heart, has brain, has everything. He doesn't have a heartbeat because the soul has departed. Who I am is my soul. There's a beautiful story of the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe. When he was a little boy, he was 3 years old, I think. He was sitting on his Zayda's lap. He was an orphan from his mother. The Rebbetzin Dvar Eleh, a very, very touching and beautiful story, how she passed away. She gave up her life. Meiser Nefesh, she gave up her soul in order to allow her father, the Alter Rebbe, to continue to nurture the growth of Hasidic philosophy throughout the world. A very beautiful story, Dvar Eleh. So when she did so, she told her father, I'm giving up my life on condition that you raise my son, Menachem Mendel. And it was that Menachem Mendel, little boy, was sitting on his grandfather's lap, and he said, I think he pulled at his grandfather's nose and he said, Das is Zayda, this is, or maybe his grandfather asked him, who is Zayda? Where is Zayda? So he pulled at his nose and he said, this is Zayda. No, and he said, no, that's Zayda's nose. And then he pulled at his beard and he said, this is Zayda. And he said, no, that's Zayda's beard. So the little boy jumped off his grandfather's lap, he ran outside the room and he called out and he said, Zayda! And the Alter Rebbe responded, yeah. And then the little boy said, das is Zayda. This is Zayda. He's such a smart kid. He was able to recognize that Zayda is Zayda's consciousness. Not your beard, not your nose, but your consciousness. The fact that you responded to me, that is Zayda. That's your soul. A dead body doesn't have a soul. A living body has consciousness. So that's why they're interchangeable, because our very approach to life is based upon our belief in God and our belief in the soul, that there is a soul, which is a piece of God that gives us life. That's the meaning of the word nefesh, which means soul. And in this case of the Shema, it also means life. Now the word nefesh also means rest. In the Kiddush we say, Sheishet Yamim, for 6 days God worked. Yom HaShvi'i, and on the 7th day, Shabbat Vayinafash, he rested. Shabbat, Sabbath, means to rest. Vayinafash, he ceased. Shabbat means to stop. Vayinafash, and he rested. Vayinafash, and he rested. Remember, we learned that when you have the letter Vav at the beginning of a word, it means end. The Vav at the beginning of a word means end. So Vayinafash, and he rested. It's so interesting. I already said that he stopped working. What do you mean he rested? There's no redundant words in the Torah. There's no redundant words in the Torah. So what on earth could this mean when it said that God worked for 6 days, and on the 7th day he stopped and he rested? Why is that necessary to tell us? If he stopped, then obviously he rested. If he rested, then obviously he stopped. The answer is no. Rest is not the absence of work. How often does it happen to you that when you go on vacation, do you start your vacation the minute you stop working? Today we never stop working, unfortunately. But theoretically, do you ever feel like you need a vacation after your vacation? Why is that? Why would you need a vacation after your vacation? I'd like to hear what you think about that. Do you ever feel that you need a vacation after your vacation? And if you do, why? The reason is because rest happens in 2 stages. Shavat vayinafash, he stopped and he rested. He stopped means that the work ceased. He rested means that he connected with his nefesh. He connected with his inner core. It's not just about vegetating and watching Netflix all day and all night. That's not going to give you a sense of rest. That will be the cessation of work. But that's work also. After that, you're going to need another vacation. If you just did nothing on your vacation, you'll need another vacation. It's only when you're able to draw inwards, when you're able to connect with your inner being. It's only when you're able to give expression to your nefesh, to your soul, to your inside, that's when you're able to experience rest. As human beings, we are creatures of meaning and purpose. As long as we're running like a hamster on a wheel, we're going to feel empty and hollow. But when we connect with our inner core, that's when we'll feel a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose, and a sense of rest and tranquility. It's not just about the absence of work, it's also about connecting to your soul. That's why when you are on vacation, when you're in quarantine, it's not just about people are going crazy because they're doing nothing. Don't do nothing. Look inside of yourself. Study Torah with me. Study Torah with anybody. Connect with the power of your soul. Unleash the energy of your godly soul, and that is what's going to bring you to a sense of purpose and peace and tranquility and rest. This is, my friends, the reason why when the ladies light Friday night candles, here's what they do. They light the Shabbos candles, beautiful ceremony, and they go like this. And then they cover their eyes, they make this most beautiful blessing. Why do they go like this? What's the reason that they go like this? Because they're hinting a coded signal from our Bubbas, from the earliest generations. It's a code that our mothers have passed on to us. Yiddische Kind, mein teure Kindele, mein Schäferle, they've been telling us. If you want to rest on Shabbos, then go like this. Search inwards. Look inside of yourself. That is where you're going to find a sense of rest. I hope it makes sense to you, friends. Hope you can connect the meaning and the meditation of the word b'chol nafshecha, with all your soul, with all your life, because your life is your soul. Your soul is what's going to give you rest. It's all the same words. If you want to say vacation in Hebrew, how do you say vacation? Nofesh. Well, chofesh is a word. Chofesh means freedom. Chofesh means absence of work. This is interesting. I just realized this right now. So chofesh is absence of work. It means free from responsibility. But nofesh is an experience. So if you're going to go and have like a cruise experience, that's called a nofesh. Chofesh is just vegetating at home doing nothing. But nofesh means an experience. If you're going to go do something. Why do we need two words? It's Shabbat, to stop working. The next one, Nafash, and he connected deeply and he rested. So stopping the work and then you rest. That's what we do every Shabbos. There's chofesh and then there's nofesh. There is leaving the work and then there is connecting to the soul, connecting deeper. That's a really nice one, actually. I just want to mention to you in closing that the nefesh, there's actually 5 parts of our soul. There's nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, and yechida. Nefesh, neshama, chaya, yechida. So the nefesh is the lowest of the 5 levels of the soul. We pray 3 times a day because we connect generally to the 3 parts of our soul that are enclosed within our body. Nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Morning, afternoon, and evening is when we pray to connect and nourish each of those 3 parts of our souls. There's 2 parts of our souls that are so lofty, so abstract that they don't actually get enclosed in our body. They're the soul's root up in heaven. Sometimes when you feel inspired to do something good or to do teshuvah without any apparent provocation, or if you're feeling guilty or something, that typically will come from the roots of the soul. An experience that the soul experiences at its source, at its root, at its core, which is not anything which you can relate to in a tangible level, because it's just sort of, it's like a flow of inspiration that comes from the root. On special days like Shabbos, Yom Tov, and Rosh Chodesh, because we're feeling spiritually elevated, so we have a 4th prayer called the prayer of Musaf. Musaf is the 4th prayer. Musaf means extra, because we're accessing a higher level of ourselves. Remember, I just said we're resting. When we're resting, we're connecting with our nefesh. We're connecting with our inner being. All week long, we're running like in a rat race. But on the Shabbos and the Yom Tov, we're connecting with our inner core. Therefore, we're able to access level 4, which is our 4th soul level. It's called Chaya. And that's why we have the 4th prayer. It's only 1 day a year that we're actually able to access the 5th and highest level of our soul, the very essence of our soul, and that's on Yom Kippur, which has 5 prayers. It's the only day of the entire year that has 5 prayers. At that prayer of Ne'ilah, Ne'ilah means locked, because the gates of heaven are locked, where you and your God are locked alone in a room of intimacy, in a marital chamber, so to speak. It's a moment of intimacy with God. That is the highest form of intimacy, of closeness with God. It happens only on Yom Kippur. And that's why it's the day of forgiveness. Because when you experience intimacy with your loved one, that's when you typically are able to forgive, when all evil and darkness and negative energy just dissipates. When the love is so intense, all the hatred dissipates. Think about how joyous you felt at the highest points of joy in your life. Maybe the wedding of your daughter, maybe the bar mitzvah of your son, maybe your own wedding. You felt so joyous that you could forgive anybody. You could let even your enemy walk in and then give him a hug because you're feeling uplifted and joyous, right? When your joy is elevated, the darkness runs away. It's like Alex Axel would say to me, when you turn on the lights in the basement, the rats will run away. So what I'm saying here is that in Yom Kippur, when you reach the highest level of the soul, that's when the sins all just dissipate. And that's why it's a day of forgiveness. Now, the lowest level of the soul is called the nefesh. It's also very interesting. That is the name of a grave. When you make a grave, you make a nefesh. A nefesh is that little mound that you make above the grave. Why is it called a nefesh? Because of the 5 levels of the soul, the lowest level of the soul always stays by the grave. The nefesh always stays by the grave. So when you want to connect with your lost loved one, the way to do that is go to the cemetery. I'm so saddened to hear that many of our members haven't been to the cemetery to visit their parents or loved ones in decades. Because, like, why should I go? I teach this concept because they're still there. They're waiting for you to come and visit. Yes, they've moved on to a spiritual realm, but a piece of them has stayed down here and it's lost and alone. Go and visit. Go say hi. I wonder if you ever went, Susan. I know you wrote me an email a few months ago that you were going to go visit your parents, I think it was. You haven't been there in a long time. Did you ever actually make it? I know you planned the trip. I never heard about it. Let me know. So that's why the grave is called a nefesh, because the lowest part of the soul, the nefesh, actually stays over there forever. And that's why we continue to visit the grave. When my father's parents passed away, my father made a promise to them that he would always come and visit them as often as possible and tell them the updates in the family. And there they are. They're buried in the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, which is not the safest neighborhood. But he goes to Israel and he takes a police escort and he goes up there to make sure that he constantly informs my grandparents of what's happening in the family, because they're still family. Just because I can't see them, it doesn't mean that they're not part of the family anymore, God forbid, right? And there's so much to talk about the soul. That's what the nefesh means here. The meditation of the nefesh is so profound. So again, we said the soul, nefesh means soul. We said it means life, because soul is life and life is your soul. Don't be fooled by the perception of the human eye, which cannot see the soul, obviously. We said that rest is nefesh, because true rest is connecting with your inner core as opposed to simply cessation of labor, which is why in Shabbos we have a double expression of he stopped work, vashavat, vayinafash, and he rested, because you need both. I'm just going to conclude with this thought now. No, I think that's enough. Then the next thought is actually related to a different word, and it doesn't really connect over here. So let me see if there's any other comments before we wrap it up. The journey of the soul, that's right, we did learn about this concept, Marty, in the journey of the soul in the JLI course. Which, by the way, that I should remind you, are starting a new JLI course this week. The Bible Stories course, which we were supposed to start teaching this Wednesday night, has been rescheduled because that course demands a lot of personal interaction. So we've replaced that course with a new JLI course called the Judaism at Home, which is how we can celebrate our Judaism at home, how we can, it's about identifying the various mitzvahs that you can do at home and how to do them and the meaning and meditations behind those mitzvahs. I'm going to be teaching that course every Friday morning at 8:30 right over here instead of the Gates of Trust. Gates of Trust we're going to be teaching every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8:30, followed by the meditation and prayer course on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On Tuesdays, after Gates of Trust, we teach Tanya. Tomorrow it's chapter 26, God willing, a whole new section of Tanya. And on Fridays, we're going to be teaching the Judaism at Home course. Don't forget, the Rebbetzin Chana is also teaching Ethics of the Fathers on Wednesday evenings. She's teaching Wednesday nights at 8:30, this course called Character Development. And I'm also doing a Farbrengen on Friday afternoons at 7 o'clock, a pre-Shabbos, L'chaim, and Farbrengen before Shabbos at 7 p.m. So please join me for that. And with that, folks, let me just check the YouTubes. YouTube is still with us. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you have a very, very meaningful day.